Now this watch features a new revolutionary feature by Rolex. -2 markers, those are definitely filled with rust. Now these are held on with Elmer's glue. Absolutely not. This is a huge issue. Ladies and gents, welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to bring you something that I'm actually extremely excited about. And judging by this title, I know you're probably saying, Peter, why the hell are you excited for this? I genuinely am. There's two cardinal rules in this industry, all right? First, don't buy from someone that has absolutely no idea what they're talking about, what they're doing, or what they're looking at. Second is going to be, don't buy an iced out watch, especially one with a ton of aftermarket parts, because you have your first rule, and then this is what happens when you get to the second rule. You break both of them, you end up in a situation like this. Super excited to do this restoration. Let's dive into it. Let me introduce you to the newest project here. I'm going to break this video down into, I think, multiple different videos, just because I'm not doing this all at once. So this is a Datejust 41, and as you can see, it is fully iced out. Now it's two-tone, obviously rose gold and stainless steel, but it's absolutely flooded with diamonds, and it's flooded with water. Now, one of the funniest things to me when I first got this in was this bezel. I mean, this is your first sign. If you could do this with your watch, that's just not a good sign. All right, what are you doing? You're magnifying, oh yeah, look, my Rolex. I can see my logo there. I can see it a little bit better. Absolutely not. This is a huge issue. And this is exactly what happens when people ice out watches. You start taking away from the structural integrity of the watch, you start drilling holes, maybe a hole went too deep, and maybe there's a hole that was drilled all the way into the center of this mid case. Now, I'm pretty confident that is not what happened here. It's more than likely due to this bezel, but there's a ton more wrong with this watch other than that. So we're gonna have to get some macro shots, really dive in close, and we're gonna see if we could even fix this thing. Now this apparently went to two separate watchmakers. They both tried to work on it and said it is unsavable. As you guys know, in the past, I've brought back watches that should have never seen the daylight again. And hopefully that's exactly what we could do here. So we're gonna start breaking this watch down and maybe we'll get some more movement shots. I'll basically just give you guys an overview. This is the introduction to this project. This is why you should not buy an iced out watch, and especially from people that don't know what the hell they're doing. Okay, because when you sell stuff like this, there's no warranty. You should have never brought it near water, but it is what it is. So let's take a closer look at this watch and see exactly what the hell is wrong with it. Now, real quick, before we get into the breaking down of this watch, this is also something super cool that you could do. If you have a black light and you have an iced out watch, run it over and you'll see all the diamonds with all the fluorescence. Now, obviously, some of them are going to be different than others, but even check this out. The lume on the watch is actually still working. So we're running -2 markers. Those are definitely filled with rust, but I mean, it's still pretty cool that the lume is still shining. All right, but enough of the party tricks. Let's jump into this watch. So this is what we are working with. So once again, Datejust 41, and it is fully flooded. Now this watch features a new revolutionary feature by Rolex. This is actually the first one I've ever seen, and that's going to be detachable bezels. Now these are held on with Elmer's glue, and as you can see, they do a phenomenal job at sealing the watch away from all the elements you can encounter on a daily basis. Now obviously I'm kidding, but there is a substantial amount of rust on this dial. None of the complications work. So we can't wind the watch. I can move it backwards and actually hear it clicking. So that's a good sign. Let's see if I can pull it out to the second position. Okay, so this would be our quick set position and the crown is fully locked. I'm not going to try and get that going. And then let's see, Jesus. All right, now that's in our time setting position. Once again, fully locked up. So I'm surprised that the crown is actually moving in and out. That's actually very hopeful. Now, something I do want to try, because apparently every watchmaker that worked on this watch, they said that they can't get it running or they wouldn't be able to fix it. Now, I want to show you guys a cool little trick. So if I take a piece of Rodico and I take the actual watch and I go to the seconds hand, let's see if we can get the seconds hand to move. No freaking way. Do you guys see that? So if I just nudge the seconds hand, the train of wheels is actually engaging and the balance is spinning. Now, that doesn't mean that the balance isn't completely rusted out. Doesn't mean that it's usable, but this is very hopeful. I don't know how well you guys could hear that or if you even could. But let me zoom in a little bit closer. All right, so I'm going to take the Rodico, and then once again, just nudge the seconds hand very, very lightly. So that's actually pretty helpful. So maybe let's take the bracelet off, let's take a peek inside of the movement, and let's see how bad it actually is. I just want to show you guys the absolute shoemaker activities that someone did to this bezel, basically to get it to stick to the watch. I mean, it is not that hard to buy the correct setting, right, for a diamond bezel. You know, they sell these without stones in them, you set them, and then you throw it on the watch. So somebody literally glued this. Now, I don't know what type of glue this is. This is just not what you do, all right? If the crystal gasket is too loose inside of a bezel, I mean, just stop right there. Do not try and glue in a bezel, guys. I mean, this is just ridiculous. I don't even think that this is real, you know, rose gold. I think it's just plated. We could definitely check that out a little bit further. I mean, I just wanted to show you guys, this is what people do. Now, you can even see down there, the gasket is cracked. So this is what people do. Whenever you bring your watch somewhere, especially something expensive, be very careful. Because there's people out there that will just slap something together and then never tell you. I'm sure when someone sold this guy this watch, you know, they said everything is good to go. Don't worry about it. Aftermarket diamond bezels, be very careful. You know, there's people that do it good and there's people that do stuff like this. Don't end up with a diamond bezel that works and looks like this. You're asking for an issue. Let's take this out. Now, one of the funniest things that I happen to notice, look at this. This is just like a pin. It's fixed. You can't remove this link from here, which made me look a little bit deeper at this watch. And of course, I checked out the inner clasp blades, and this is an aftermarket bracelet. People do this all the time, especially on iced out watches. You know, they'll make aftermarket bracelets. So obviously you're not icing out the original bracelet. Now the problem with that, this guy probably thought this entire watch was fully original. Now it is 100% not. They basically get to pocket like a $7,000 two-tone bracelet. Now we can take a little bit of a closer look, and yeah, I mean, just the tone of the gold, I don't know. To me, it definitely doesn't look right. The clasp cornet, it seems a little bit fishy as well. And then here's something else I got a little bit of a kick out of. As you can see here, you know, they drilled through the entire clasp and then just put some glue back here on both sides. So, you know, you can't really tell. But I don't know. This is just looking very, very suspect. In my opinion, I think that this bracelet is not original. We have our upper SEL code there. This is not doing it for me. So I'm not a fan of this bracelet. I think that this is aftermarket. So it's junk, but once again, people don't really ice out original parts anymore, so they usually go with aftermarket. Well, judging by how this watch turned out, I'm going to assume they don't really care. We can check in between the lugs, make sure that all of our other engravings are there. And I already loosened up the case back, so let's take a look. Now, no, don't complain, oh, you're not wearing gloves. This thing has water damage, all right? There's literally rust on the dial. Cry about it, get a grip, all right? It's not that serious. So a little bit odd that we have a ton of service history on this watch, and it's a bit of a newer watch. So I mean, the movement isn't that bad. Let's see, the rotor, and the rotor does spin. I can see the reversing wheels there. They are engaging. Maybe not. No, they are not. So if I give it a little shake, as you guys could see, the balance is actually running, but we're gonna have to check all these parts underneath a microscope, obviously, to see if they're even usable. You know, just because something looks like it's working, wait a second. Let's see if the seconds handles start running. It's stuttering. You know, the hope is not fully lost. Why the hell is the balance still going? First thoughts, movement doesn't look all that bad. I think we're gonna be able to save this. I don't know why the hell people are saying that they couldn't save this watch. I mean, this doesn't seem all that bad. It just seems like it's been sitting. You know, and that's why the dial got so bad. Maybe just some seeping water. Person left it sitting for quite some time. Let's start running through the watch. Maybe I'll take a little bit of it apart. Just give you guys a quick teaser. This is more just an introduction. I really want to set up and do this watch properly. And of course, do the video properly. I was just pretty excited to get this thing going and see what the hell was actually going on inside. So let's dive a little bit closer. All right, so now we're taking this thing apart. First thing right off the bat, we're going to remove the rotor. So the rotor nut, it was not seized on there. That's a good thing. However, by the looks of all of these screws, we're going to run into some serious issues. Now, I'm using a fine pick here. This is basically like an automotive pick. I just want to see if I can get the original groove of the flathead screw. You know, clean out some of the rust. Maybe I could still shape a screwdriver, you know, make it fit, and then I can loosen the screws. Luckily, so far, things are coming apart, so that's definitely a good thing. The automatic module is now off of the watch, and it doesn't look all that bad under here. But let me tell you firsthand, looks can definitely be deceiving. Obviously, when you have water sitting inside of a watch, it's going to do nothing but sit there and rust, and parts are going to start to degrade. Now, removing the balance was spinning, as you guys saw earlier, so I'm pretty hopeful that that'll actually work. I'm going to play around with the pallet fork, and this is pretty much what we were seeing before with the second hand actually moving. The pallet fork was engaging with the escape wheel, but I mean, I still got to check these things. They might not even be savable. You know, pallet fork bridge is coming off, then I can remove the actual pallet fork. I'm surprised that the shellac stayed perfectly intact here, but I mean, it's good to go. So now we're going to remove the train of wheels bridge here. Luckily, all these screws came out. The bridge popped right off. And once again, underneath that, I don't really see that much rolling here. Definitely some sediment, definitely some rust, but that's to be expected, right? Now we start taking out the gear train, and things are starting to look a little bit different. Now, I don't know how close you guys can actually see in this video, but some of the keyless works components, the sliding pinion, it's rusted out, and it's rusted out bad. Ratchet wheel and winding bridge is now coming off. I'll take this further apart later, but now we get our first look at the barrel. And right here is where I noticed an issue. The barrel is completely seized inside of this main plate. It will not move. There's pretty much nothing I was doing to it that actually got it out. I had to stick a piece of pegwood underneath it and actually start pressing at it. So this was a bigger issue than I really thought it was. I just couldn't believe it. But now these brittles and screws, they are literally falling apart. And that's where I realized we're going to have a serious restoration on our hands. Unfortunately, this is where the video is going to end. So I did dismantle this whole entire watch. As you guys can see here, we got the main plate, but we have a more serious issue. So about 45% of the screws came out perfect. I was able to scrape out the heads of the screws, get a screwdriver in there, reshape them, and the screws came out. But unfortunately, about the other 60-something% decided to snap the heads clean off and leave nothing but the threads inside of the parts. So I'm gonna have to extract a bunch of screws here, and that's always fun. So that's something that you have to take into consideration, especially when doing restorations like this. It's not just the typical service. You really need to be mindful of the amount of time that you're putting into the watch. And I think that this one is still savable, even though I still got to remove about like 7 screws out of the main plate. Both sides, head snapped off. It is what it is. We'll get it done. Guys, as always, thank you for watching. Don't forget, like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I will catch you on the next part of this series.